Well, good morning, everyone. My name is Patrick Baker with Constructive Solutions. Just do some, give me a sec here. So my name is Patrick Baker. I'm with Constructive Solutions. I wanted to start off by thanking you for your time today. This is the last in a series of 7 webinars that we've hosted for our clients. Today we're going to be focused on the Sage Service Operations application. So I'm joined today by Jay Arnelli from with Sage. Jay's and his team have been they're the developers of the software and have been focused, come out of the specialty service industry. So Jay's going to be providing us with a high-level overview of Sage Service Operations and some of the new enhancements that have been made in the course of the year. I'll let him position the solution. It's been around for a number of years. And again, is focused on mobility into the field with technicians. So Jay, I will make you the presenter. Just give me a sec.
Thank you. Okay.
Presenter. Yeah. I would say from a housekeeping perspective, if anybody has questions that come up during the presentation, I'd encourage you to type them into the session. I'll monitor that box and we'll make sure to address those questions in a timely fashion.
Great. Thank you, Patrick. Good morning, everyone. So today we're going to walk through Sage Service Operations, and I'm just going to go through one quick slide just to kind of review the actual functionality we have in the software. Second. Oops. All right. So Sage Service Operations, as Patrick mentioned, it's intended for specialty contractors or subcontractors that may have both a service component to their business, but also a production or construction component to their business. Looking here at our architecture map, if you look in the bottom left-hand corner, this is where your Sage 100 or 300 contractor database resides. That may be in your office, or maybe you have it hosted. And what Sage Service Operations does is really allows you to unlock that functionality in your accounting system and make that information available in a useful way to your field employees via Android, Apple, or Microsoft mobile devices. So for field employees, there's a few features that are used on a regular basis. First off, work orders. So if you're working on smaller projects, time and material work, or a small quota job, you might be using work orders for those quick jobs. We also have daily field reports and time entry. So time entry is really catered, we like to kind of classify it as time entry for your crews in the field. So let's say you have a foreman working on a construction project and they need to enter their 8 hours of labor for themselves and or for their entire crew. They can do that. They can identify the cost code and save their time, and that populates back into the system. We also have quotes here, which is for kind of like more for the service side of things. So let's say I go out and we find a bad light bulb and the customer wants a quote to replace the light bulb. We have a pretty efficient solution to quickly capture that sales opportunity, turn it into a quote, send it to the customer, and on approval with the push of a button, we can create a new work order. And I'm also going to be focusing on some of the office features available in Sage Service Operations from an operations standpoint that extend the existing functionality in the core accounting product. And we'll go over some of our dispatch functionality, the maps, touch on time review, and maybe some quotes. And then we also have, won't go into too much detail today, but we do have a client portal. So if you have customers, like let's say McDonald's wanted to log in and generate their own work orders, we do have a very light customer portal that they can utilize to self-perform some activities. So with that said, let me kind of jump into the product. And I'm going to start off with, I'm going to kind of take the perspective and walk through a few of the features that a typical office user might use. And then I'll pivot and I'll kind of show you what could I do as a field employee on both a work order and a job, and take you through some of those scenarios so you can see kind of the full functionality. I don't have enough time to get everything in during this 1 hour or 45-minute discussion, but it is a pretty full-featured product, as Patrick had said. There's a lot of different ways to set it up depending on how you flow. And this product does work with both Sage 100 Contractor and Sage 300 Construction and Real Estate. There are a few differences. Today I am showing the 300 product, if anybody was curious, but I'm going to try to keep it somewhat neutral and go over some of the high-level things. And I'll try to touch on some of the new features that came out for the 300 product earlier this month, and they'll also be rolled out for 100 hopefully in early January. So starting here, looking at the screen, if I go across the top of the screen, we have several different feature sets that can be utilized depending on if you're in the office. So here on the dashboard, this is kind of more of a service orientation of information. Basically, what's the heartbeat of my organization? I can set up custom views here. So in this case, I'm choosing to see, show me all the work orders that were completed today, along with some cost information. I can also drill into that and export to Excel. We also have some additional graphical functionality with that, the release this month, so I can set up some graphs and dive into those graphs. And so I can drill into a section of that graph, see the results, and then I can export that information to Excel, which can be pretty handy. We also have just kind of a rolling list of work orders here, but what's really key is the ability to set up your own custom views. I can drill into those views here. I can see more details. I can search within those views if I need to. So if I wanted to see everything that was for Allstate, I just start typing in all, and it quickly narrows down all my results. All right, so I have just Allstate. Or if I wanted to see all the service work, I can just type in the word service, and it narrows down my results only with the word service, and I can export that results here to Excel if needed. So we can build inquiries off of work orders, purchase orders, or quotes. And right now it's only for the service component of the 300 product, but we are extending this to the 100 product also. Moving on, let's go to the dispatch area. This has probably received the most enhancements over the last year or so. I'm just cleaning this up a little bit so it's not so busy. Over the last couple of months. So traditionally we've had the ability to schedule work orders, so assign a work order to an employee. And I can simply do that by filtering my list of work orders here. And I can simply take a work order and I can drag it and drop it onto the appropriate person for the appropriate day. That creates the assignment for that employee, so they receive an email. And when that field employee logs in on their mobile device, they'll see on their schedule that, hey, I'm supposed to be at Travel Academy on Friday between these hours. We have different views. I'm on the weekly view here, but we also have a daily and a monthly view if needed. But what's really and I can also drill into this and I can see all my details. If this was a mistake, I can go ahead and delete that assignment. I can modify the assignment. I can add a second person. In this case, I only have one person on the assignment. There's a lot of flexibility with that, or I can toggle back and forth to see the overview, some higher level details, or I can click on the work order number or the site to drill in and see more details. Also on the dispatch area, I can set up custom groups. So if I have multiple dispatchers or multiple teams, I can set up my own custom group with the people I want to see, my employees. I can also track other subcontractor work or equipment. Maybe you have a crane or a scissor lift that you want to track what job is it on. We can do that here with the schedule. But what's really new to the dispatching area or the schedule area is the ability not to just to schedule a work order, but we've added up here the ability to schedule a project from the jobs module. So here I have a project for Fort Wayne. This happens to be for 300, but I have visibility as the person scheduling in the office to the labor effort. So what's the estimated number of hours estimated for each cost code? So I have some visibility into how far along this project is. And I can simply assign a task to anyone in the field. So let's say Jay needs to work on flagpoles on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. I can take this cost code, drag it, and drop it onto the schedule, and that creates an assignment for Jay to work on flagpoles on Wednesday. Now let's say I needed to do that for the rest of the week, and I didn't want to drag one at a time, or if it was a monthly view, I can go to the month. But I can simply hover over like Excel here, and I can just stretch it out the rest of the week, that same activity, so I can quickly fill out my schedule. And if anybody else has Jay on their view, they would see that Jay's already tied up on this project for the week. I can also see who is the crew on this job. So right now I'm looking at the Boston service team, and that is, I set up this custom view. But maybe I want to see just the team that's associated with this job for Fort Wayne. I can click on the eyeball here, and that's going to update this so I can see that these are the only 2 people that are associated with this job. I can see all their activities. I can see that we have a crane that was on site on Monday, and our crane is also scheduled to be on site this Friday. So it's really flexible from that perspective. Now, we just talked about, how do we schedule and have some visibility into scheduling resources such as employees. But what does that look like from the eyes of the employee in the field? What can they do? So I'm going to jump over here to my assignments page here. All right, so on the assignments page, this is the tablet view. We do have a tablet versus a smartphone view. But this is the tablet view, and this is really what your field employee will see typically when they log in to Sage Service Operations. In blue here, we try to clearly identify the days of the week from a schedule perspective. And then within the day of the week, we break down the different types of activity between job and work orders. All right. So here, on Monday, it looks like I worked on a couple of jobs. My time entries are over here on the right-hand side. My subtotal for the day is here. I actually don't pay attention. I gotta clear something here because I was doing a demo earlier. I'm just clearing a timesheet so I can update the timesheet. Okay. All right. So if I go back to my assignments page, I can see Tuesday, today, I already worked 4 hours on this construction project on temporary utilities for this cost code. And I put a comment in there. I said I installed lots of pipe. But I also have 2 work orders to go to this afternoon. So I have some visibility into that. And as you can see, we can go down. We can also consolidate this view. We can view it a few different ways. Maybe I don't want to see it this way. I can just go to we have a work order assignments view also. So I'm just going to go ahead and take a look at that. So that's more of a list view, and I can filter that list by different criteria here if I wanted to. But let's just go back to that regular assignments view. So we try to give your users in the field different perspectives on the schedule and different ways to view the information. All right. So let's say I'm going to take you through kind of a actually let me talk a little bit about job time, and then I'll walk you through some of let's take you through a little bit of a work order. What if, and this is a hypothetical, but what if I have an employee that needs to, he or she is on call, it's Saturday, or it's Tuesday night, and there's nobody in the office. How does my service technician generate a work order at night and work on that work order, even though there's nobody in the office? So if you set up the privileges for that employee properly, they can do that. So let's kind of show you how we can do that here. So we can go ahead, we can search for a location up here in the search bar. And in this case, I'm just searching for Bank of America. And let's go with, and I can type in part of the name of the customer, and then I can just jump right to the address. And that's going to quickly narrow down my results. We try to make it super simple. Let's jump to Bank of America in Boston. And once I'm on Bank of America in Boston, I have the ability to see all of my details here, my address and all that fun stuff. So let's go ahead and generate a new work order. It's going to be for this division. Let's say, no AC in the building. So this is one way we can go ahead and generate a work order. And if I go back to my assignments page, since I logged in as a technician on Tuesday, I can see that I have where is it? No AC. This is it right here. I can see my work orders. I have a new work order, and I have the ability to go ahead and punch in, punch out on that if I need to. So I can go to my assignments page here, and I can clock in and clock out. Now, if I was on a mobile device, it would look a little bit like this. Let me show you. I'm just going to resize the screen here because we do have a different view for mobile devices. So if I was on a smartphone, we're going to have this look and feel. So if I was on the assignments page, we have the punch in, punch out. I'm just going to go ahead and punch in to this work order here. And I'll show you the job, some of the job punch in and punch out in a moment. All right. And I can see my job information here, where I'm supposed to go. I can quickly go ahead and I can add notes to this work order here. I'm just going to show you a few of the features, and then I'll jump over to jobs. So I go at my add notes buttons at the bottom of the page. I can use a canned response to put in some predefined messaging. And when I save that note, I want to make sure that my dispatcher gets an email with that note. And I also want to let them know that, hey, there's a safety issue here that I found. So my boss will now get an email with that notification. So they have some visibility into my issues at this site. A couple other things. So I can go ahead, I can add parts, I can add miscellaneous items like a truck charge, I can do tasking. And then at the end, I can go ahead and I can create a service report for this work order. So I can go ahead and create my service report, which is essentially the receipt the customer assigned. So your logo would be here. You'd have all your information filled out with labor, materials, and parts. And we can go ahead and capture the customer's signature. And I'm going to go ahead and save that as a PDF. All right. And that was just email off to the customer. And there's my service report as that receipt. Let me show you what that looks like. And there's a lot of ways we can configure this receipt. Now, on the job side, I actually don't have any jobs scheduled for Tuesday. So I'm going to go ahead back to I could go to the dispatch board and schedule a job assignment for Tuesday. But I'm going to show you how I could create my own assignment on the fly. And we have a lot of different ways, depending on how you enable the privileges for an individual user, we could allow them to create an assignment. And think of an assignment as your Outlook calendar, and you have a calendar event on there. That's an assignment. You define the start time and the end time. And we're basically doing that same thing with Sage Service Operations when you create an assignment for a job. So I'm going to go in here, and I'm going to create an assignment right here under this quick pick button here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to define that, yep, I need to be here, and my scheduled start time is really at, I'll leave it at 1, but I'm going to work until 4 p.m. I'm on the East Coast, so my time defaults are a little different. But basically what we're setting up here, we're not entering time, we're defining our scheduled start and stop time. And I can go ahead and search for the job that I know is open that I'm working on. If I want to, this is manually, once again, adding a job, and I can say clean up job site. So I can go ahead and save that assignment. Oops, what did it say? Oh, I didn't select the job cost code. It's required. So I'm going to say we're going to work on, what did I say, cleanup? Do I have cleanup? We'll just put temporary utilities there as the cost code. So I'm going to save that. So that just created an assignment back on my dispatch board. And here on Tuesday, I have that new job assignment where it says clean up job site. Now keep in mind, this is just one way to create a job assignment. Now what I can do, if I'm on the field, this is what it looks like on a tablet, but I'm actually going to do the rest of this on my smartphone. So if I'm on my smartphone, I want to toggle to today because it's too busy. So here's all my activities for Tuesday. So here's my, my job to clean up the job site. So I can punch in a few different ways. I can punch in here, or if I wanted to, this is kind of a quick launch punch in to cut down on steps. But if I wanted to really dive into that job, I can dive in here, and I can go right to the overview, and I can punch in here. Now we do also support in the new 6.4 release crew punch in and punch out and things of that nature. Here I'm just showing you how an individual without on their own could punch in and punch out. And I can have these quick launch buttons to punch in and punch out, or to track different activities. And I'm going to go ahead and do that. So let's just go work start. And you can pick and choose the types of punches you have. So I showed work start, work complete. I have lunch, I have breaks. If you don't want to use the lunch status, you can turn that off in the global settings. So it's highly configurable in that aspect. We also can open up the system a little bit. If you wanted them to do a little more than punch in and punch out, if you wanted them to also put notes in and maybe identify other criteria, so I can say, if we wanted to suspend this, we could allow them to also manipulate the cost code and pay type and add comments if you need that. So I'm saving that, and I just completed that. So I'm going to, for the rest of this demo, I'm going to go back to the tablet view just because I know everybody's looking from a small screen. So I'll modify that here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to the assignments page. So I'm back on my assignments page, and I'm on Tuesday here because I can see that I just created this 0.02 hours, and I suspended this call. So that means when I suspend a call or an assignment for a job and I don't complete it, that means I still have activity to complete. So maybe I need to return the next day or return after lunch, however you want to deploy that. A couple other things I can do in a job. I can drill into my job here, and I can complete forms. So I have a sample striping job report. So you can develop and complete forms and capture information. You can have check boxes, drop downs, multiple choice. We can actually capture signatures on these if we need to. And we can save that as a PDF against the job for future reference. We see a lot of people using these for like a toolbox talk or a punch list or whatever the case may be. But we can also create field reports, and we support field reports in both Sage 100 Contractor and Sage 300. So I can generate a field report. Actually, won't do it, but let me drill into an existing field report that was created. So on field reports, we can capture notes for the day. I can drill in and add subcontractor information. So did we have a subcontractor on site? How many foremen were on site? How many journeymen? There's a lot of different fields here. And the field reports differ slightly between 100 and 300, but generally speaking, they have the same intent. Did we have an event? What was the event? Oh, we had I don't have any set up here, but you can set them up with a drop-down. We had an OSHA or a safety inspection or a job site meeting. You can document notes, who was there, what did they do. So it's a really great way to capture information. We can also take photos and snap a photo on the job site. So let's go ahead and take a photo. I'm going to do this manually here because I'm on my laptop doing this demo, not on a smartphone. I'm just going to say, I'm going to say punch this item. And I can also give it a category so it helps us search. So I can go ahead and just choose a file here. I'll pick this one right here, right? I'm going to go ahead and add an attachment. All right, so I just added that it's punch list item attachment. That's available to me immediately in the office if I need to. But, you know, I need to like document the punch list item. So I'm going to go ahead to the sketch feature here. In this sketch feature and these attachments, it's the same functionality on work orders and on jobs. So let's go to the sketch feature here. So I have the ability to go ahead and pull in that photo, and then using these different tools here with my finger or if I'm on a smartphone, I can say, hey, this is not safe. We need to go ahead and fix this. All right, and I can go ahead and save that sketch. And we can also route that via email to the office if we immediately needed to let our project manager know in the office that there was an issue. So if I come down here to the attachments area, I can see that I have a new sketch for the 29th. And if I bring that up, I can see that I have my full detail there on that sketch. All right, it's a pretty handy tool. So it's going back to the going back to the assignments page here. So on the job, if I was a user in the office and I wanted to see information about the job, I can drill into that a few different ways. If I had it on my list, I can just drill into the job here. Or I could go ahead to the jobs list here and see all my jobs. And so I can drill once again into Fort Wayne. When I'm on Fort Wayne, this is everything that has to do with this construction project. I can see who's on my team. If I needed to add more people to my job team for scheduling purposes, I can go ahead and add them here. So I have Jay and I have Laurie on the team. I could track subcontractors I may need to schedule against the job. And I can also track things like equipment. So real quick, so these, once again, these people, if I go back to my scheduler and I go back to jobs, I'm already on that job. So that team I just showed you correlates to who's showing here. So I have Jay, Laurie, and I have my equipment, my crane, and my subcontractor. A couple other neat little things we now have, which is new in 6.4. We, especially if you have a lot of employees, we can display their photo. If you hover over the employee, we can also show their skills and a quick little about message. You can customize the message that might be useful. So maybe, hey, I want to put a message in that says, Jay's really good at cleanup, or never use him on for this type of a job. Anything that might be useful to your scheduling team. All right, so let's go. We also have some mapping functionality over here that I can show. So we have some high-level visibility into jobs, sites. I can see different types of activity. I can see work orders, I can see jobs, and I can see recent activity. So let's kind of go to recent activity. So where was Jay when he suspended that call? So when I punched in and punched out on that construction project, I think you guys saw me do that, and I suspended it. Where physically was Jay? So I can go ahead and click on that, and that's my office here in Boston. That's where I was when I suspended that call. So we have some awareness, but I can show different types of information, whether it's work orders, job locations. So show me where all my jobs are. There's a job right there for the Bank of America federal site. That's actually a work order. So we have a lot of flexibility with maps, and we're continuing to, add to this over time. Another feature that might be useful is quotes. And I won't get into too much of that. I do want to kind of open it up to some Q&A shortly. But on the quote side of things, I probably filled it. We have the ability to manage quotes, and quotes are really intended for service-based work. So if I'm a technician and I'm out, let's say I'm a HVAC technician and I'm out working on a job site, and I'm doing a preventative maintenance inspection, and let's say I find a bad unit, a bad HVAC unit, and we need to replace that heating system. I have the ability to initiate the sales opportunity from the field, and then we could either complete that sales opportunity in the field or provide a salesperson with access to that here. And the salesperson can come in here. I'm going to go into one that's new. Let's go to this compressor replacement. I can drill into this quote that was created from the field. I can see this quotes for Bank of America. I can see all the attributes here. I can add some notes, and I'll go ahead and edit some notes here. So I say, during our inspection, we found a bad compressor. Need to replace it ASAP. Update the general notes. And then I can go ahead and add some labor to that. Seems to be a little slow today. All right, cancel that. Let's go ahead and just add some labor to give you guys the flavor for it. Let me just edit my notes again. Oh, it worked. All right, so let's go ahead and add the labor side of that. So I can go ahead and edit labor, and I can define my labor here. So I can say we need 20 hours of labor. And if we're using the 300 product, we do have this concept of rate sheets. So we can automatically predefine the billing rate for customers. All right, so update the labor there. And I can go ahead and show some other items that I may need to add above and beyond labor. So let's say I need a new HVAC unit, and I can say we need one of those, and it's $500. So I can basically specify my markup on that, and I can put it down at 50%. And let's say I need to also put in miscellaneous wire, and that's $500. And I can just basically sell that for a fixed price of $1,000. So I have my items. So once my quote's complete, I can then review that quote here on our quote reviews page. It's a nice, clean, easy way to view those quotes. So I can see all my items that go into this estimate my labor, my HVAC unit, my miscellaneous wire. We clearly define the margin here so we can make sure we're on target. And if everything looks good, we can go ahead and finalize and draft that proposal for the customer. And we have a few templates we can use here, but I'm just going to leave the detailed view on. And I can save that as a PDF, and we can email it, that PDF, through the system. So let me show you what that PDF looks like. So if I go down to my attachments, and once again, on the attachments, you can attach anything you like. You can have a photo of the issue. We store that quote that was generated. Maybe you have a cut sheet from the manufacturer. You can store that information there. So here's that PDF with that proposal that was sent out. And then when the customer wants to move forward, with the click of a button, we can generate a new work order in Service Receivables in 100 Contractor or in Service Management in Sage 300 Contractor, and really help you optimize your workflow and make things a little more efficient. The final item I'll show, I'll go through is kind of the time review functionality we have in Sage 100 Contractor. And we have a couple of different ways to do that. So give you a high level, I'm going to show you once we back up. I'm sorry, I'm jumping around a little bit. My apologies. So if I'm an employee and it's the end of the week, I have visibility into my weekly timesheet here, or the assignments page. So this is not just my calendar of activities as a field employee for the week, but it is also acts as my timesheet. And all these entries that you see here in both the 100 and 300 product, that's actually, generally speaking, it's all stored within the core accounting product. It's all there. But we need a mechanism to know that, hey, your employees in the field are letting the office know that, hey, we're 100% done with all of our updates. We want to go ahead and submit our time. So we do have the ability to let them submit their timesheet and let you know at the end of the week that they're complete. So I can go ahead and document the time as complete. I can add my signature here, right? I hit the done button. So I can save that. And we're just going to prompt them, are you sure you want to submit your hours to payroll? Yes. So I'm letting the payroll team know, or whoever's going to approve my time know that it's complete. So that's submitted. So if I go down here, I can see now that your hours were submitted on the 29th at 1:35. And there's my recap of hours. So now as an office person, I have the ability to go ahead and review my team members' time if you have that privilege turned on. Now we have a couple of flavors for time review, and it does depend on the product that you're on and what version of the product you're on. I'm just going to kind of touch on them high level. In the most simplistic form, we have a timesheet review feature, so I can see all the employees that have not submitted time. And then I can see the ones that have submitted time ready for review, or the ones that are completed. So here's one that's completed. And I can actually drill into that timesheet, and I can see a summary of the employee. I can see subtotals by pay type. All right. I can see the details here. So I have 2 days, 2 items for work orders, and I have 4 items for construction projects. So that's one thing I want to point out is Sage Service Operations. It can manage time entries for both service work on work orders and construction time on construction jobs in the same product. And it puts it in one spot so you can have, we try to make it very simple to review all the time for the whole entire organization. And I can see when they submitted it and who approved it. All right. We also have an enhanced time review feature that is out right now for Sage 300 customers, and it's planned to come out in January for Sage 100 customers, where I can actually set up workflows for time review. So I guess the easiest way I can explain this, let's say you have 2 different types of people in your office that need to review time, or maybe you have 3. So maybe you need the project manager to first sign off on all the time for a given project. And then you need that employee's manager or direct supervisor to then approve the time, and then you need payroll to approve time. So we can set up, as you can see, 1, 2, 3, I think it's up to 4 different layers of review and approval for each time entry. And you'll have the ability to come in and filter by group. You can, approve all at once if you want to, or we can go and filter by team, or if I want to look at it by job, I can say I only want to see the time for Northwest Warehouse, and I can apply that, and it would update it. I don't have anybody on. I didn't have only clear that. We do one that I have time for. Where is that job? So let's go with, I know I have time on Fort Wayne, so I only want to see the time entries for Fort Wayne, and that'll quickly narrow it down. So as a project manager, I can quickly come in here and just see everything related to my project, go through my time approvals, and then the office can go ahead and do their secondary approvals if you need that level of detail. And to set these up, they're all managed through our group functionality, so you can have different workflows and different approvers and approval workflows based on groups. So I could have a service group in the company and a separate construction group, and each group could have a different workflow for time review and approval. Patrick, is there anything, I don't know if I should open, I know I have kind of a broad audience. I'm happy to open up the Q&A. I'm happy to dive a little deeper. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, no, is that sort of it? You've sort of gone through sort of the different areas that you wanted to cover off?
Yeah, I think so. Without diving into too much detail, that would be pertinent to either the 100 or 300 product. I'm available for the next 20 minutes if anybody has any questions that they like. I think there's one here.
Yeah, I think I sort of been addressing the questions as they've been coming up offline during the presentation. It had to do with some of the differentiators between 100 and 300. But definitely we can open it up to questions and see if there is anybody that has any questions currently.
Sure. I see one question regarding an existing 100 contractor customer saying that their view looks slightly different. It does look different. So the view I'm showing right now is the what we call our 6.4 release. That release was rolled out on December 11th for 100 contractors. That is going to be available for the 100 client base, effective sometime we're shooting for early January. We're just finalizing our finalized testing, and we just don't. We need to wait until after the holidays for obvious reasons to roll out that enhancement. And that'll include this new time review feature. It'll include an updated dispatch view, and you'll have enhancements to that dashboard. And if you'd like, I can. I'll share some additional videos with Patrick highlighting some of that functionality, which will be similar in the 100 product.
We do have another question, Jay. We've been told that SSO isn't available yet. Is this the entire program or just the remote user apps? So, Reed, what I'll do is I'll unmute you and maybe you can elaborate on that question.
Oh, we just recently bought Sage 100.
Yes.
We're not up and running yet with it.
Right.
But we've been kind of holding off because we really need, like, all our mechanics work in the field, right? Like remotely. Yeah. Yeah, and our sales guy said we're still waiting. He said now it's December, he's telling me, before it'll be available.
Well, so I think we should explore specifically what it is that you're waiting for. The application has been out for a number of years and integrates with Sage 100. So there may be some specific features that are coming out in the 6.4 release that you're waiting for. I don't know, but we can certainly address those offline, Reed.
Well, what we're waiting is to be able to run these on tablets or iPads or whatever, like for a remote user, and to be able to work, I guess, without any internet access.
Oh, offline. Yeah. So we've been.
Yeah.
we've been working with Jay and his team, letting them know that that is a specific requirement that we have. The version that we're looking at today only works in an online environment. Jay, do you want to elaborate on that?
Yeah, no, I can elaborate. So the mobile apps themselves are pretty much completed. However, we have to roll out 6.4 and then go through a few testing activities on the mobile apps, and then they'll be rolled out shortly after this January release for the 100 contractor products.
Okay, so we're looking at January right now?
I don't have an exact date from the for the actual mobile app. If you need to have 100% offline functionality, we're happy to get you set up and let you see how it works without the mobile app. But it does work as we do have several customers in Canada. Well, we have a lot of customers in Canada actually that don't really have too many issues with the offline functionality. So we're happy to kind of evaluate that with you and see how it works.
Yeah, because 99% of our work is, you know, like the guys are in the shop in the morning, you know, they can synchronize or do whatever, but when they're out in the field, you know, 90% of the time they're not going to have internet access till they get back to town. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so we have to wait. That doesn't give us much wiggle room. The application as it is today works in an online environment, so we need to wait for the app to come out in order to pilot it in your environment.
Okay. Yeah, because we bought this program here a few months ago and we're still waiting. So we're going to be darn near half a year into it before we've even tested it yet. So.
Right.
Okay,
well, we'll follow up, Reed.
Okay.
Any other questions? Well, if there aren't, I'd like to thank everyone for their time. Hopefully, we were able to provide you with a high-level overview with Sage Service Operations and the capabilities. Again, they continue to advance and enhance the platform. You can see improvements. Well, now they have job time. They didn't have that before. Improvements to the enhancement, to the dashboard, also to daily field reports. So I'll follow up with each of you to define the next steps to support you in your investigation or address any questions that you have. So thank you very much for your time today. Thank you, Jay, for the presentation. I appreciate it.
Thank you, everyone.
All right.
Take care. Bye-bye.